Good afternoon. This is Jim Whitehead of All Power Group, which also has a channel called Phoenix Animal that I've had for quite a while now. I love animals, but I really wanted to add another channel in, again, something that I have enjoyed and have quite a strong passion for, and that's everything coffee. Now, I know there's a lot of channels and whatever, but let me explain why I think this makes sense. And by the way, the name of the channel is Power Coffee News. And you can see my little logo. And related to my first channel, the Phoenix Animal, and you can see the logo on the right-hand side, second one down below my funny face, is Phoenix Animal. And the whole point when I was deciding to do a second channel or another channel or replace, Phoenix Animal, when I started looking at the images when I was pulling some coffee, pictures and what have you, I was like, I don't want to give up the animal channel. And admittedly, I'm not I got 58 people working for me. So this is a one-shot me doing everything, at least right now, which is great. I've had offers where people say, hey, let me do this for you. You can have a producer and you can do this and that. And I said, we're not at a point where I enjoy it so much that I really wouldn't want to feed off additional services to someone else or some of the things I do to someone else. So it kind of was like, I love animals. I'm not giving up the animal channel. But I am going to do the coffee channel. And I'm going to give you a very quick synopsis of why. If one would say, well, are you qualified to do this? Do you know anything? Well, let me tell you. Yes, I do. Anyway, what you're seeing there is, and this is Davie, Florida, what you're seeing. I'm in Naples, Florida now, the complete opposite side of the southern state of Florida. I started a coffee roasting business, and the weird thing is, I thought coffee was terrible. And I'm talking like back in the 80s when you're tired, you say, well, let me drink a cup of coffee. Oh, man, with the fake this, fake that, terrible brewing. I was like, why does anybody drink this unless they're totally on a desert island and they keep falling asleep? But my wife and I was doing Diet Coke, Coke Zero for my caffeine in the morning. My wife, 24, that's her name, said, hey, let me brew you a cup of the coffee that I have every morning, that she has every morning. And I said, okay, I'll do it. Well, I was like, whoa, have I been missing so much? So, in 2017, I started drinking coffee. I loved the whole aspect of the coffee business because it was, I didn't think too much about it. When I didn't drink it, didn't really think much about it. But now I was like, oh my God, look what I've been missing. So I literally, and this is no exaggeration, I spent every day, after, because I was a generator company, so I was out 6 days a week, yada, yada, yada. But every night I would study coffee, everything and anything. So in 2018, I said, this is such an opportunity, and I love what I do. I'm going to start a roasting business. So basically, what I did is, you can see what I'm showing you, and this again in my area in Davie, Florida. That is where, and the device I used at the time to roast coffee. And what I did initially is because most of my time was spent on the generator business, but I would use the coffee as like giving my coffee away. And, here's a picture of my typical bagging and labeling and so on and so forth. And I would gift it to some of my generator customers. And it was just an opportunity to say, hey, I really appreciate it. I'm happy that you allow me to install a generator for you and to take care of your generator. So that was pretty much it. And then I said, well, okay, what I know I'm going to do is, as I progress in my age, because I started the generator business when I was about 55 years old. Now I'm 75 years old. I kind of expected that in starting the coffee business that would be a normal transition that would allow me to have another business, when I realized that, and be honest with you, it's the factual too, that it was so hot in Florida, South Florida, and it's gotten even hotter. It's been hotter every summer since 2014. I was like, well, I want to have something that when I have to drop the generator business or sell the generator business, that I had another business to go into. Now, that's exactly what I was doing, but what generally happened is we decided that we didn't want to be on the east coast of South Florida. We wanted to be on the west coast of South Florida. So that's the story. And, through and coming over here and so on and so forth, the point of where, again, the channel made a lot of sense because I love it. And as I love the animals, and with any content creation, you can't just, or shouldn't just do everything off the top of your head. You need to do homework. You need to do image preparation, finding out things you don't know. Because, if I sit here and go, I know everything about everything, well, that's not true. So it was just where I said, it makes sense. So now that I'm over here doing content creation, I realized that I wanted to go back into coffee. And the first part, I guess say part one of that, is doing a coffee channel, a related channel. By the way, the name of my roasting business was Roasting Expectations, because I had a generator company called Power Expectations, and I did solar over there in the East Coast, and I had Sun Power expectations. So, I mean, it's like, hey, Jim, can't you come up with some unique names? But anyway, bottom line, what this allows me to do, and now you're looking at the book I wrote. Now, have I written a book before? Nope. Did I ever think I was going to write a book before? Or any time? Nope. But it was such an opportunity because, again, regardless what your topic is and what you're good at, you get better at things. You learn more things. So this book, and it kind of goes along with exactly what I did in my roasting expectations. I would buy green beans. Green beans, coffee beans, are not roasted yet. You have to handle them real well and be careful and keep them. You don't want them being heat, but you need to learn how to roast them, and you get in all different types of roasting. Light roasts, medium roasts, dark roasts, French. I can go on and on and on. And of course, you get good at it, and you have marketing opportunity and information like, labeling and boxes and so on and so forth. You can basically then, after you roast them, you sell them. So this book, by the way, goes from A to Z. I mean, it tells you, and it's not with any, I think it's 121 pages, but every book doesn't necessarily have everything you ever would want to know, and you can't get other information. But this is a pretty good start. And the other part of my doing a YouTube channel is having where I can do coaching. I can help people that say, gee, Jim, I would like to do something within the coffee business. And I love to teach. I love to coach. So again, it's kind of where you say, wow, you got different aspects of this coffee opportunity. And yes, that's exactly correct. So the thing that is important is that you're going to see, and I'm going to upload them now to Power Coffee News. I prepared, and my first presentation, this is just an introduction, but my first presentation that I put together and actually recorded it this morning is on basically anything you would like to know about coffee, but, and I want to emphasize very, very much so, what I did this morning was really going through not all the history of coffee, but enough where you would say, wow, I never knew historically coffee was so amazing. You will see in my first presentation, that again will be on the channel shortly, where there were battles, wars. Because in all our history of when kind of they figured out, hey, what's this coffee stuff? And bottom line, it is amazing how much coffee has been used. You'll see in the presentation I'm referring to, and we go back to the 1700s and what have you. But like, for example, just one example. When we were in World War II, and again, these are things I learned this morning. I mean, I know a lot, but I don't know everything, and it'd be sad if I think I know everything. And if I did know everything, it wouldn't be fun anymore. But what the United States did is for every, the meals that they would have for the soldiers in the field, they would make sure that everyone had some form of coffee. Because the recognition, understandably, with war, sleeping is terrible, dangerous. You got to sleep with one eye open. But they said, hey, we give people coffee so that they can get their, I guess you might say, caffeine, and become a more alert soldier. Because let's face it, in war, if you're tired and, so on and so forth, it's, and I don't want to exaggerate, but if you're not up to the way you want to be mentally or should be, you might end up getting killed. Now, I don't want to sit there and try to fool you to say, well, we won, when we, D-Day and started making our way, into, that which the Nazis had taken over, that coffee made it where we won the war. I don't want to stress it like that, but it's where everything had to be where you had the opportunity of food, maybe not the best food, tasting food, but food for nourishment, but also, in this case, a stimulant. Now, someone would say, well, why don't they just put some, other drug, yada, 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 yada? I said, that's probably not good because, there's addictions and so on and so forth. Yes, I don't do well without having a cup of coffee in the morning, but it isn't where my life would come to an end. But it's great. So, historically, it's been there. There's a lot of money in coffee. So it just made sense that, my background would lend itself well to doing this channel. But I want to thank you. I know I have a tendency to talk too much. My wife says, you talk too much. And it's not even particular to YouTube, but I guess the opposite would be if I couldn't sit here and talk to you. That would be a negative also. But anyway, please enjoy both channels. Again, I'm continuing, the animal channel. And I'm starting the coffee channel. So, thank you. And I really appreciate. And, the biggest thing what I found, last thing I'll say, is on the animal channel, it's not necessarily the best for a YouTube opportunity, because what a lot of times those that kind of say, hey, let me tell you the better way of doing YouTube, you want to be able to have it where you're helping other people learn things. They might say, I don't have a clue all about roasting and how different roasters, I can go on and on and on. With animals, it isn't where there's too much you can say, well, this is how you save your animal. No, I mean, it's kind of a G-rated opportunity, but it doesn't necessarily help people learn new skills in compared to what's going to be my coffee channel. Because if you stick with me, I will tell you everything I know. And the reason I brought this up is with the animal channel, I wouldn't get a lot of comments. either somebody was just not nice, which that's the way it is in YouTube, but not necessarily related to anything I'm doing, just I want to pick on you. But the whole thing with this, you can ask me questions. Hey, Jim, I'm thinking of doing this, or can you help me do that? Or what's the best coffee to buy? Etc. What's the best coffee roaster? What's the best coffee brewing concept and process? I mean, I can go on and on and on. So what I find is that, yes, my first presentation was more related to the history of coffee. That in itself, besides hopefully being a little interesting, that doesn't help you move your own coffee desires and growth very much at all, other than, again, knowing where you came from. But most of my content will all be where you're learning things. Whether you just want to drink better coffee or you want to be a coffee business and everything in between. So that's my commitment, is ensuring that you can ask, and I will answer wonderfully whatever you need to know. So again, thank you, and I appreciate you listening to me. Take care.